Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Gursad Singh, and today in this video, I am challenging SikhNet's top philosophical writer, Ik Onkar Khalsa, to a debate. I will be showing in this video how Ik Onkar is misleading Sikhs and creating a false history of Sikhi. She's also insulting Sikhs who have traditional values and who have proper knowledge of Sikh history. Now, recently, Ik Onkar has just posted a very disturbing comment on this Kundalini Yoga teachers group. This is a group of Yogi Bhajan disciples who are Kundalini Yoga teachers. And for all of you who may not know, I was part of this Yogi Bhajan group for some 30 years. So I have very much knowledge about how this group works and their agendas. This Ik Onkar Khalsa is making up this false history of Sikhi in order to give credibility and lineage to Yogi Bhajan's Tantric and Kundalini Yoga. Now, I want to read for you her comment that she just posted at this Kundalini Yoga teachers group. It's very disturbing and alarming. She first says, "To my dear Kundalini Yoga teachers, it is unfortunate that this group is becoming a playground for people who wear turbans and have Sikh names, but who have lost their sense of Sikh history. This is a real insult to traditional Sikhs who hold traditional Sikh values. The millions of Sikhs out there who know that yoga is not part of Sikhi are being insulted here by this Ik Onkar, who's one of the top SikhNet writers over there. Now, Ik Onkar goes on to say, these people, and she's talking about the traditional Sikhs, are also spreading misinformation about the connection between yoga and the gurus. Ik Onkar goes on to say, let us be clear. Guru Nanak was a yogi himself. He did not like the yogic culture that kept the wisdom of yoga from the common people. She goes on to say, Baba Sri Chand was trained in yoga by his own father, Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak gave Baba Sri Chand the job to correct the yogis of his day. This is complete false teachings on the part of Yogi Bhajan and on the part of Ik Onkar. Millions of Sikhs know that this is just, it's delusional, nothing else. They really believe this. I believe Yogi Bhajan made up this false history in order to give his Tantric and Kundalini Yoga credibility. If he could say and put a connection with Guru Nanak and his son Sri Chand, and then eventually he uses Guru Ram Das Ji as another promoter of yoga and Sikhi. If he could put those all together in what they call a golden chain, then it gives his lineage, gives a proper lineage to his Kundalini Yoga, and people will be more motivated to buy into his Kundalini Yoga. Now let's just talk about a little bit about why yoga, especially Yogi Bhajan's Tantric and Kundalini Yoga, don't have any part in Sikhi. First of all, Yogi Bhajan's Kundalini Yoga is never mentioned in the Siddhi Guru Granth Sahib Ji. It's never mentioned in the Vars of Bhai Gurdas. And no Sikh historian or scholar will ever tell you that there was a golden chain with Guru Nanak being a yogi and Baba Sri Chand or the Sri Chand. passing this yoga lineage along and then revealing it to Yogi Bhajan. And it's just a ridiculous kind of assumption that Ekon Karkar and Yogi Bhajan make, that only Yogi Bhajan was revealed this secret, that yoga was part of Sikhi, and that this secret Tantric and Kundalini Yoga was going to save the world. All the millions of Sikhs that came before Yogi Bhajan were not allowed to have this secret. It's just complete rubbish. The only place where Sri Chand is mentioned in the Siddhi Guru Granth Sahib Ji is when the Siddhi Guru Granth Sahib Ji talks about Guru Nanak's sons and how they betrayed him. The Guru talks about how Guru Nanak Dev Ji's sons were the evil ones, as it says. And so Sri Chand became an Udasi. And Udasis do not do yoga. It's just a ridiculous kind of assumption, or claim, I should say, on Ekon Karkar's part and Yogi Bhajan's part. There's a very good book that I read about 10 years ago, which really opened my eyes after being in this Yogi Bhajan cult for some 30 years. It's called Sikhism and Tantric Yoga by Dr. Trilochan Singh. And evidently, Bhai Sahib spent months with Yogi Bhajan, and so he had an opportunity to see Yogi Bhajan in action and to read a lot of the lectures, if you will, and promotions that Yogi Bhajan was making, prachar that Yogi Bhajan was making. So then he wrote this book, and he talks specifically about this misrepresentation of Sri Chand. Sri Chand was an Udasi, and Udasis do not do yoga, Dr. Trilochan Singh talks about. And so the idea that Sri Chand would be a Kundalini yogi or Tantric yogi is just completely fantasy. It's just complete fantasy. Now, Ekon Karkar talks about, in her comment, how there are other, she says here are some articles based on Yogi Bhajan's teachings and related issues on the connection between yoga and Sikh Dharma. And there are other historical records as well. Well, Ekon Karkar, I'd like to see those other historical records. She fails to put those into her comment or any links to them. There just aren't any. The only historical record is just from Yogi Bhajan's mouth. And again, Yogi Bhajan had the incentive to make this all up because it would promote a lineage or give a lineage to his Tantric Kundalini Yoga. There's a very good article, an academic study that was written and really well researched by a Philip Gillespie. This was about 4 years ago or so. It's called MAHARAJ the MAHAN Tantric. I'll put a link to it in the comments to this video, or the description. Now, Mr. Gillespie really researches this, and he says that there's really no lineage to Yogi Bhajan's Kundalini Yoga or Tantric Yoga. Yogi Bhajan came up with these false teachers like this Sant Hazara Singh, supposedly, but there's no other proof that he ever existed. So Yogi Bhajan basically made up this Kundalini Yoga, and then he put it out there, and he needed to have some kind of lineage. So he made up this fantasy with Guru Nanak Dev Ji and Sri Chand involved, and then eventually, as I said before, Guru Ram Das Ji. He called it the Golden Chain. It's just complete fantasy. Now, the disturbing thing about this, and which makes this really bad, is that innocent yoga students, they read what Karkar talks about and reads her comments and reads what Yogi Bhajan says. Then they think that Yogi Bhajan's Kundalini Yoga is part of Sikhi. That's what I always thought too when I was in 3HL for some 30 years. Now with the advent of the internet, it makes it a little bit better because those yoga students can research this and they can find out that Yogi Bhajan was really telling a false narrative, and Karkar is too. But if they buy into what Yogi Bhajan is saying, what they do, these yoga students, they take on Sikh names, Singh, Kar, and Khalsa, and they have no idea what it means to live as Khalsa or to live as a Singh or a Kar. So then they do all these Yogi Bhajan, Tantric, Kundalini yogas, and it causes all kinds of problems because what it does is it mixes their yoga with Sikhi. That's where the problem comes in. So I've posted many pictures of these Kundalini yogis bowing to these murtis or idols of this Sri Chand that are placed strategically at the entrances to the Sikh Gurdwaras there in Espanola, where SikhNet's headquarters are. And it becomes a big mishmash. They start to do Hindu mantras. They combine with this because, you know, that's what Yogi Bhajan was teaching, was these Hindu mantras along with Gurbani, and it just becomes a big mishmash. Karkar also talks about in her comment here about how the Sikh religion is not a separate religion. Well, it is. You know, Sikhs are not Hindus, and I have no problem with, you know, the Yogi Bhajan people doing their own thing, but just do not call it Sikhi, do not mix it with Sikhi. They shouldn't be using Sikh names, and they shouldn't be wearing Sikh bana, the stars and clothing, because ultimately what happens is anybody who sees you out there in the public will associate you with yoga and all these tantric yogis. I've had many instances where I would be traveling and somebody would come up to me and say, oh, my daughter is, she's at the tantric yoga course there in New Mexico, you know, and I said, I don't really have anything to do with that. We're Sikhs, you know, but that's how these people associate. They see these people all dressed in white and wearing the star and bana and wearing the star, and they think that this is the way all Sikhs act, that they do this tantric yoga and all this, but it's really far from the truth. You know, Sikhs are devotional. They worship one God. We don't bow to idols and murtis of Sri Chand or anything like this. This is completely against Sikh teachings to do all these things that the Yogi Bhajan people are doing. You know, this Gurmukh Kaur, who's a poster yogi over there at the Yogi Bhajan headquarters, she goes off to Rishikesh. She does all these Hindu pujas. Many of you have probably seen pictures of her doing these Homa pujas there in Rishikesh. And she wears complete Sikh bana and has a Sikh name, Gurmukh Kaur Khalsa. Can you imagine someone with the name Gurmukh Kaur Khalsa doing Hindu pujas and carrying on? You know, she has no idea about what Sikhi is about. And she has no idea about Sikh rules of conduct, the Sikh Maryada. She has no idea about that. So here we have this Karkar, who is spreading this false history of Sikhi and encouraging these yoga students to take on this Sikh history that is false, and to do Kundalini Yoga and thinking that it is part of this golden chain that came from Guru Nanak and Sri Chand and Guru Ram Das Ji. It's a very bad and very disturbing narrative that she's putting forth, and all of these Yogi Bhajan people are putting forth. It just leads to a lot of damage to the image of Sikhs, and to the image of Sikh. Now, you ask, what can we do about this? This Kundalini Yoga teachers group is a group that is a closed group. And so if you write me on Facebook, I will grant your request to join the group. Just go to my Facebook page, and I'll put a link to that in the description to the video. And then you can join that and comment on there. I think the more traditional Sikhs that go there and start commenting and show that there is the majority of Sikhs in the world, the majority of the millions of Sikhs in the world, know that this false narrative of Ekam Karkars is just fantasy, then I think we can help the yoga students to understand the truth. So, like I said, just write me at this Facebook page, my Facebook page, and I will grant your request to join this group. Thank you for your time. YBers,